you need to stay focused. Stay focused on what matters in your life. Because if you don't, then we tend to focus on the 90%, on the 10% of our lives instead of the 90% in our lives. For example, we tend to focus on, walking down the street, and if someone just gives you a look, you're like, why are they looking at me like that? Why is she looking at me like that? Why is he looking at me like that? Just those very little things, instead of focusing on like, oh my God, this is so much like fresh air and so beautiful, environment or buildings or whatever, the site is or the view is. We focus on what, how someone looked at us, on how someone, on people's opinion about us. Like, it doesn't really matter actually what people's opinions are about us, because they themselves are actually thinking about what others' opinions, affect their lives. So it is that, I think, for me, every time I will drift, it was when I give my ear to people, to to just people talking or worrying about, how was that, how was like what I said, how was it taken, or how did they respond. It does not matter how they take it. If you worry about, for example, if you have an idea and then you're worried about how people took the idea or how people responded to the idea, you will be discouraged, because then every time you will want that affirmation. But if you are 100% okay with you, be like, you know what, I'm gonna put my work out there. If people like it, it's good. If they don't like it, it's also good. It's okay. As long as I like the work that I have produced, I do not need affirmation from the people in my life who do not, whose opinion, don't really matter. And when I say about that, like people's opinion, I'm talking about, just strangers on the road, or it can be like the work colleagues who, we are all in the workplace to, there's like a certain goal, like when I say about focus, it's like, for example, if you start a new job, right, their focus was, I'm going to send a CV to get a job. That was the focus. Why did you get a job? To get a job in order to, to, let's say, get paid, and to maybe earn experience, for another future opportunity. But then you start a job, and then probably this one person who doesn't like your ideas, or just doesn't like you, and then you shift the focus of what you started with, and then you put it on this one person. So now every time you wake up in the morning, and that this has happened to me too, like every time you wake up in the morning to go to work, you're not focusing on the work. You know what I mean? Like, you're not focusing on like, okay, today I need to do it, regardless if the work is so stressful, it doesn't matter the capacity of your work. You just be like, okay, instead of like I'm going to focus on this, and this today, and you put that focus 100% on that, the drive that you had, starting the when you started the job. But now when you wake up, you're like, oh, I like that coworker better not even talk to me. She better not even look at me. She better not even say anything. So you're drifting your focus. So you're allowing someone else to be an obstacle between you and the goal that you wanted to achieve, whether it's money, getting more money in the job, or getting promoted, or like getting an idea out there. Because when you are bitter, people can tell when someone is bitter. So when that colleague is bitter, the vibe, everyone can tell, right? But if that affects you, that means you are also going to be bitter. So if you have, let's say, an idea to present it to your manager, or an idea to present it to your supervisor, then you're not focusing on that idea anymore. You're focusing on that one person who doesn't like you. And it honestly, it does not matter. Because I tend to think it this way. If someone if someone doesn't like me, and they probably like, when someone doesn't like you, you can tell that this person doesn't like me, right? And then they tend to say stuff or do stuff to kind of like frustrate you, or to give you kind of like that bad temper, right? To want to kind of like, stir up the anger. And I tend to think, what is the spirit that is behind this person? Because there's always a spirit that is behind every person. So it's not the person that is actually, who wants me to drift, or who wants me to be angry, but it is the spirit that is behind that person. So I have started to, if I just sense someone's, the atmosphere and everything, that they just want to put you like in trouble, or to just stir up your frustration or something, I rebuke that spirit that is behind that person. And you don't focus on it. You don't focus on that person. If the negative thoughts, they are kind of like, you are starting to think negatively about that person, you rebuke those thoughts, and you move on with your life. Staying focused is the number one thing that we all need to do in this year. We need to do that, because, for example, in the Bible, when David and Saul, what did Saul do? He focused on David. He was not focusing on his throne anymore. He was the king. But he was not focusing on, what the king does. He was focusing on pursuing David, because David was kind of like a more of a champion when it came to war, like, defeating their enemies and all this stuff. And people praised David more, than Saul. And then now Saul eyed David. And then now the focus, he drifted his focus. And then when you drift your focus, that means you're not running your kingdom anymore. You're running kind of like you are moving away from God's purpose, in your life. And you're not focusing on your life anymore. And it's just like, it really delays the dreams that you have in your life if you do not pay attention when it comes to being focused. And this is something I'm also working on, and it's not easy. But it's good to catch yourself every time every time we are out of focus. We have to stay focused. So another thing is, just be yourself. Be yourself. I think when it comes to another thing about focus, there was one day I just find being focused is like, take your life as if, your life is a car and your mind is the gear. What you set your mind is where your life is gonna go. So if you set your mind on reverse, regardless of how much you want to go forward, the car is gonna go back. Why? Because you have set your mind in reverse. But if you want your life to go forward, you have to set your mind. And setting your mind means, when you enter into the car and you're starting the car, you are actually thinking, you're like, okay, I need to put this gear into drive. You don't, like, my hand does not just automatically, like, without communicating with my mind, if you know what I mean. Even though you have done it so many times, you still have to know to be like, oh yeah, I have to do this. It's like, it's something that you just have to do. So, what I mean by this is you have to purposely set the gear to drive if you want your life to move forward. And that is the same way, like if you want the car to move forward, right, to drive. And that is the same way in our lives. You have to purposely set your mind, just as the gear in the car, set your mind, okay, I'm going to put my car into drive and I'm going to drive forward. Every time, we reflect back, it's okay to reflect back most of the times, but it's not healthy to reflect back and just stay there, okay, and just stay in the past and just dwell in the past, because then your car is gonna, your life is gonna go back. That means you're gonna, like, start doing things that you stop doing, the bad stuff that you were probably thinking, or the negative thoughts that you used to dwell on, and then now you're kind of like starting doing that. Why? Because you've set your mind in reverse. So, daily reminder, I guess, this just something to remind whoever is listening to this, just stay focused. And you have to know that every time you are going towards your dream, the enemy will always try to bring people in your life, use people in your life to interfere with that dream. But you have to know that the people are not the enemy. The enemy is using the people to interfere with your life. So you don't get mad if someone doesn't like you, but you rebuke the spirit that is behind that person who is trying to kind of like create an obstacle in your life, or to create delays in your life. You have to rebuke that evil spirit in order for you to move forward. Because if you set your mind like that, then you're not going to actually fall into that trap of, thinking if someone likes you, if someone hates you, if someone likes your opinion, someone hates your opinion, or if someone likes your dream, if you tell them, or if someone, doesn't agree with it, or if someone does this, or if someone does that, if someone, it's and that is going to also make you even love that person more. And the enemy hates that, because his goal is for you to drift your focus. But if you understand that there is a spirit behind this person that is actually doing this, then you're not going to hate the person. You're going to love the person, but you're going to rebuke that spirit You're gonna love the person, and then you're gonna move forward with your life. And just stay focused, stay focused, stay focused, and don't let the little things drift you away. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. All right, guys, you have a great day.